Good morning. Welcome to the COVID-19 Pro Bono Collaborative Informational Webinar. I am Karen Schma, Director of Diversity Business Investment and Entrepreneurship at the FCEDA. I will be your moderator today. On behalf of the Fairfax County EDA, I want to thank you for joining us for what will be an hour packed with good information about services that are available for free. We have an impressive lineup of speakers today. First will be Victor Hoskins, President and CEO of the Fairfax County Economic Development Authority. If anyone from the public has questions, please select the chat function at the bottom of the Zoom screen to ask a question. Adrienne Beckerman will talk about organizations and the services it provides following Victor Hoskins. Then we will have representatives from Start Small, Think Big, Rebecca Engel and Elizabeth Rogers. So with that said, I will turn it over to Victor Hoskins, FCEDA President and CEO, for opening remarks. Victor?
Thank you, Karen. I'm Victor Hoskins. Thank you for joining us for the COVID-19 Pro Bono Collaborative Informational Webinar. This will be a timely and important conversation that will help small businesses dealing with the effects of COVID-19 and those that need help with legal and financial issues. The pandemic has affected just about every business in our region, and actually just about every region, every business in our country. And the question is, do you need financial assistance for your business? Do you need to renegotiate the terms of your lease? Are you interested in revamping your marketing strategy? This session will be perfect for you if you are. Our presenters today are from Start Small, Think Big, a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing entrepreneurs with the tools they need to grow their businesses, especially minority entrepreneurs and business owners. The Fairfax Law Foundation and its Pro Bono Law Center, and from the Economic Development Authority. The free legal assistance services are in part a part of a toolkit that our office is employing to help businesses weather the pandemic. We have worked tirelessly to connect businesses with this service and financial institutions. With SCORE mentors and the loan and grant programs that the federal government, state government, and local government throughout Northern Virginia have started. Companies in Northern Virginia have received almost $3 billion from the Payment Protection Program created by the federal government. Fairfax County companies alone have received approximately $2 billion. The state government just yesterday announced that it has upped its Rebuild Virginia program to $100 million and increased grants to a maximum of $100,000. The Fairfax County government has approved $58 million in grants with its RISE grant program. More than 4,700 companies have received grants so far. Of these, 72% are minority, women, or veteran-owned businesses. All have fewer than 50 employees. All these programs are unprecedented and underscore the lengths that governments are going through to save small businesses in our economy. I commend these officials at all levels. I also commend Start Small, Think Big, the Fairfax Law Foundation, and all the attorneys in the region who are generously volunteering their time to help small businesses weather this economic downturn. We are fortunate to live in a region that is so rich with resources to help others. I have been saying since the pandemic started that we are a resilient people and that we will emerge stronger on the other side. I still believe that. This country has faced depressions, recessions, and roared back from them. If you need help, visit fairfaxcountyeda.org for more information about our services, or Karen Schma, the Fairfax County EDA Director of Minority Business Investment and Entrepreneurship. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you so much for working so hard to save your business.
Thank you, Victor. Next on the agenda, we will have Adrienne Beckerman, who is the Director of the Fairfax Law Foundation, the Northern Virginia Pro Bono Law Center. Good morning, Adrienne.
Good morning. Thank you, Karen. My official title is Director of Pro Bono Activities for the Northern Virginia Pro Bono Law Center. We are part of the Fairfax Law Foundation, which serves the community in a number of different ways. My program, the Northern Virginia Pro Bono Law Center, is one of those projects, and we have a number of different ways that we undertake to serve the community. So what we do is get lawyers who sometimes have a very undeserved bad reputation to donate their time, and they do this in many different ways. And mostly they're donating their time to help the community for those who are most in need. So while lawyers do serve those who have financial means, they also, in a very big way, use their time and energies and expertise that only the legal community has to serve people who otherwise would have nowhere else to turn. So we talk in the legal community about equal access to justice. This is something that every American can believe in. This is not a political issue. This is not any kind of controversial issue. What we mean is that our system is built upon the premise that people have access to the courts, to the legal system, to legal knowledge, and that's the only way that they can protect their interests. So if there's someone who has a high-powered attorney, in order for the person on the other side to be able to effectively assert their legal rights, then they need to have legal information and or legal representative. And that's what we mean by equal access to justice. And only by having information on both sides can justice be served. So we talk about in the pro bono world, oh, and I forgot to mention that this is a very appropriate time for this program. This is the National Celebration of Pro Bono Week, which is a nationwide celebration of all the pro bono work that lawyers do throughout the country. And so the fact that this presentation is happening during Pro Bono Week is perfect. Lawyers who do this kind of work are not seeking headlines or not seeking fame, power, and glory. They're doing what they think is right and addressing what is on this slide, which is the justice gap. So the justice gap is the difference between the people who have legal representation and those that don't and need it. And the rule of law in our country is a principle that I think most people are familiar with, which means that no matter how rich or poor, what gender you are, what race you are, anything about your background, our court system, our rules, our laws should apply to everyone equally and fairly. The problem is that if people don't have access to legal information or legal representation, then that breaks down. And so then we have this justice gap where only those who have legal representation are the ones who can accurately present their case and get the rulings they deserve in court or negotiate agreements or whatever it is. So I'm going to speak more specifically about our program now, which is, again, the Northern Virginia Pro Bono Law Center. I have been lucky enough to be the director for about 21 years now. And over that time, our programs have grown. We have been very lucky to have had the support of the legal community. We work closely with the Fairfax Bar Association, which is a voluntary local bar association where lawyers come together not only for their own professional purposes, but also to help the community. So we have developed over time a number of ways to help those in need, as I said in the beginning. They're in different kind of areas. So I know that this seminar is dealing mostly with businesses, but just so that you know and you understand that these resources are out there, we also serve family legal issues. The biggest area of pro bono need is in the area of family law, because as you can imagine, everybody may at some point in their life be involved in some kind of family issue. And again, it doesn't matter how rich or poor you are or anything else about you, that to most people, the most important value, the most important thing in their life is their family, whether it's traditional or not. These are issues that are very important. So we have a couple of ways that we have developed in order to address people who have these kinds of needs. The first one there is the Family Legal Assistance Project. So we work very closely with our local legal aid, which is Legal Services in Northern Virginia, and they do their best to serve as many people as they can, but there was a great overflow of need in addition to what they could possibly handle. So our Family Legal Assistance Project was developed to handle cases that they can't or won't accept. So these are contested family cases. So this is what most people would think of when they think about family cases. So it includes things like divorce, custody, support, all the kinds of human issues that come up when we're thinking about family law. And what happens is that these issues get very complicated because people are complicated. And for those people who have children, resolving in a positive way all those issues involving those children are very important. And unfortunately, it gets even more complicated when there's a history of domestic violence or other kinds of issues where the rights of the children need protected as well. So through our Family Legal Assistance Project, we are able to serve people who have those more contested and more complicated cases. So lawyers volunteer their time, and this is pretty amazing because it is a lot of time, as you may imagine in family cases, that these cases take hundreds of hours sometimes. And there are lawyers in our community who are trained in family law who will take these cases on pro bono, which, just in case there's any confusion, means basically for free. Technically, pro bono means for the public good, but it translates into, in our world, lawyers donating their time without any fee, representing people for free because they want to and because these people need help, and otherwise they would have a great deal of difficulty in presenting the matters that need to be presented in court. So that's our very important contribution to the community, is trying to help this huge gap in the need for pro bono family law help and what lawyers can do. The other project that we do in conjunction with our local legal aid, which is uncontested divorces. And some lawyers joke that there's no such thing as an uncontested divorce, but we like to believe there is, that in the area of uncontested divorces, the clients are screened by our local legal aid for the most part, and then lawyers donate their time, they're trained, and I have a particular affection for this case because I personally mentor the lawyers in this project, and they represent clients from beginning to end, from the initial interview until they actually are able to obtain through the system their divorce decree, which settles everything, and they're able, again, sometimes it's very sad, there are cases of domestic violence or spousal abuse or child abuse, and having that divorce decree makes it possible for people to move on with their lives. They're no longer responsible financially as well for the debts of the other person, which oftentimes is a major thing. And I think I mentioned before, but just to make it really clear, that the clients that we are representing are either low income or in poverty, and there is absolutely no way that they would be able to pay a lawyer for these kinds of services, which is why our program exists. So the next big area that we address is financial stability. And again, this is on a personal level. So you can imagine that everybody has these kinds of issues. And if this is housing, consumer, and employment, because if these issues are not addressed and resolved, any or all of them together can put a family on a path toward financial ruin. So nowadays, we've been doing these programs since the early 1990s, but particularly in these times of a pandemic, they've come to be even more of the forefront in people's minds, and all of these are so important. So for example, housing means, in our case, landlord-tenant law. So these are clients who have trouble with their rent. Often they're in circumstances where their home has many housing code violations and is not a safe place to be. And they come seeking help and figuring out legally how to get the landlords to fix the properties and make them habitable again. It's become very important. We're actually doing a training on this very soon because, as you may be aware from the news, the housing has become a major issue during the pandemic because as people are losing their jobs, they can't pay their rent and there's this trickle-down effect. So there have been protections. Virginia had protections in effect. And then at the current time, the CDC has guidelines in effect where evictions are being stopped at the moment on the residential level. But we're all really concerned because what's going to happen when those protections expire? Where are these families going to go? How are they going to catch up on their rent? And so I foresee that this is going to be one of our biggest projects and biggest areas of need in the coming months. And so we're gearing up to have more volunteers involved in the program so that we can help more people in the county. Consumers, all the different kind of things that you would think about. Our biggest area within consumer law is probably debt, credit cards, loans, things where people are being harassed or pursued for debts that they may or may not owe, and there may be legal protections. There may be ways that we can negotiate with the creditors to try to figure out how to make that more bearable for the consumers. There may be fair debt collection practices, violations where people are being called at all hours of the day and night, where the debt is being sold over and over and the proper procedures are not being followed. So we deal with a lot of consumer debt issues, garnishments, fraud sometimes issues relating to cars. There might be repossession problems. There might be, somebody might have been sold a car that has a number of defects. You probably all heard about lemon laws. So that all comes under consumer. Employment is also can cover a wide range of issues. Sometimes, depending on the environment in the community, it might be more issues that are employment discrimination related. Now, the biggest issue, unfortunately, usually revolves around unemployment compensation. As is obvious, there are many, many people in this environment who have lost their jobs and they have sought unemployment insurance, and sometimes that works well and sometimes it doesn't. So we deal with those kinds of issues as well. We do, one of my first thoughts when I took this position many years ago was that it's not always optimal for lawyers to assume that clients will come to them. That was one of my major focuses. And the lawyers that work with us are wonderful and they have big hearts and they're doing great work. But clients don't always have the transportation, the childcare, the means, and they're not always comfortable showing up in Tyson's Corner in a high rise and meeting with people there. So instead, I'd rather inconvenience the lawyers. So up until the pandemic, our lawyers would go out into the neighborhood. We partner off and on with about 13 neighborhood sites throughout Fairfax County. And the lawyers would go out to these sites and meet with clients on a scheduled basis and provide legal advice and referral information. They're not obligated to, sometimes they would do more, but the whole idea was for the lawyers to go out into the neighborhood to meet with people on their own terms, for the it was more important to me that the clients be comfortable than the lawyers be comfortable. And it's it's an equalizing effect when everybody's in a place where the clients are comfortable, and we have the partnership of these wonderful groups throughout the community. Our Wills on Wheels program, the lawyers love, and I think the clients love as well. We go out again, we partner with organizations throughout the community where lawyers again go out to sites such as senior centers. Fairfax County has wonderful resources. They have senior low-income housing. We partner with a number of those sites, and the lawyers will donate their time. They go out at least twice to meet personally with clients. We'll do the individual intake and actually prepare documents for them. So that brings us to our last service, which is the one that we're here mostly to talk about today. We have a project where we do community economic development, meaning we work with small businesses on transactional issues. And we also are involved as a partner in rapid response. So I'm going to leave the details of that to our wonderful partners at Start Small, Think Big, and I will be around later to answer any questions. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Arlene. We appreciate that information. Next on the agenda, we have Start Small, Think Big. Our two speakers include Rebecca Engel, the organization's Chief Operating Officer, and Elizabeth Rogers, their Public Interest Legal Fellow. But before we hear from them, we have a poll question. Did you apply for any CARES Act funding? And if so, did you receive CARES Act funding? So this is a two-part question. We'll give you a few minutes to answer. Just a few more seconds. Okay, interesting. It looks like of the attendees participating, 77% of you applied for CARES Act funding, and 62% of you, in fact, received CARES Act funding, either from federal, state, or local grants or loans. Thank you for participating in this poll. So now I'll turn it over to the representatives from Start Small, Think Big. Elizabeth, Rebecca, welcome.
Thank you so much, Karen. It's wonderful to be here this morning. As Karen mentioned, I'm Rebecca Engel. I am the COO of Start Small, Think Big. I'm joined by Elizabeth Rogers, who is our Public Interest Legal Fellow at the organization. And just to start off with a quick background on who we are, Start Small, Think Big is a nonprofit. We're based in New York City. However, we serve entrepreneurs across the country. In addition to offices in New York, we do have offices on the West Coast in California as well. Our work is really here to help under-resourced small business owners support their businesses through legal, financial, and marketing support. The goal of the organization is to help these businesses grow and mature and thrive, with the primary objective for us to do that so that there's not only growth of the business, but the entrepreneurs that we support in our program are able to help build wealth for themselves, for their families, and additionally for their communities, which is incredibly important to us. This work is done 100% pro bono, so it's free for all of our clients. There's no cost to them. The way that we do that is we have built up a network of pro bono volunteers from law firms, from major financial services organizations, from marketing firms, and other volunteers who are really passionate about supporting small business owners. Their support is, critical to helping kind of provide the targeted services that many entrepreneurs are just unable to access on their own. It's incredibly expensive to pay for, and we're very cognizant of those costs and want to make sure that we can really support our entrepreneurs with effective guidance and support from our partners. So our programs, as I mentioned, we focus specifically on legal services, financial services, and marketing services. We're the only organization in the nation that provides complete wraparound support across all of these focus areas. In terms of the help you may get, if you are needing assistance from our legal program, we can help with things like corporate entity and registration. We can help with contact reviews. From a financial perspective, we spend a lot of time on accounting, on helping you build projections and sales projections for your business and understand the costs of different decisions that you need to make as a business owner. And marketing, we do everything from helping you get collateral if you don't have a logo or you don't have website designs, all the way through helping you navigate sophisticated marketing plans. As particularly in light of COVID, most of our clients have had to pivot to serve clients online, and all of our programs are really designed to help you make that pivot online as well. From a success metric, we see that the majority of our entrepreneurs, 97%, are women and or entrepreneurs of color. So we're really targeting wanting to serve those who we consider under-resourced. About 87% of our businesses see survival rates after working with us. That means they're still in business, they're still functional and growing after a year working with us. 57% of businesses have seen an increase in their revenue after their first year working with us. We've seen almost 500 jobs supported from our clients and over $3 million in revenue generated in their first year of business. So obviously with COVID, there's a lot going on, and our team has wanted to remain really connected to provide the specific needs of businesses as they navigate this crisis. So I'm going to turn it over to Liz to talk a little bit more about what our COVID response in particular has looked like in our programs.
Hello, thank you so much, Becca. I'm excited to be here with you today and to talk about Start Small, Think Big's COVID-19 Rapid Response Program. Our Rapid Response Program came out of the need that we saw for small businesses across the country to have quick, effective access to legal counsel, financial support, and marketing support. I'm going to give a quick overview of each of our areas that we cover through the Rapid Response Program and how you can apply to receive this assistance. First, I'd like to let you know that we don't have any eligibility criteria for the Rapid Response Program, other than that you are a small business owner or entrepreneur who is currently operating or has momentarily paused operating due to the COVID-19 pandemic and continuing shutdowns in some areas. So first, our Rapid Response Program provides legal assistance. And the legal assistance is across a couple of different areas. There is debt management. We also provide assistance with commercial leasing, employment and risk management, and other concerns that you might have right now as a result of COVID-19. To submit a request, you just submit our simple request form. You can find it on our website, startsmallthinkbig.org, or on the websites for the Northern Virginia Pro Bono Law Center or the Fairfax County Economic Development Authority. And all of our organizations have this information on their websites, and you can access the request form. It only takes about 3 minutes to fill out the request form, and most clients will receive their first consultation within 7 to 10 business days. So it is a very rapid program. I'm going to walk through each of the legal areas that we're offering in the Rapid Response Program and talk about the kind of questions that you might have answered in these consults. So first, loan and grant assistance. A lot of small businesses who receive PPP are now concerned about compliance and forgiveness. And for those of you who don't know, the PPP is the Paycheck Protection Program, which was part of the CARES Act funding. So if you haven't submitted an application for forgiveness to convert that into a grant, or you're confused or have questions, then certainly reach out. We can also provide assistance with federal loan applications, state and local programs, and give you some guidance on grant options that might apply to your business. Another area for legal assistance is contract review. A lot of small businesses during this time are thinking about signing new agreements or thinking about how to renegotiate an existing contract. Our attorneys can review your agreements and help you think through what your options might be and strategies, whether you're thinking about exiting a contract or delaying performance, whether you had an oral agreement that's now in doubt during this time, or if you're thinking about signing a new agreement during this time. Our attorneys can also help with commercial lease review. They can help you if during this time you're thinking about renegotiating a lease. Perhaps you have been unable to pay your rent for a period of time or need to adjust your rent based on financial projections and work out an option with your landlord. Or perhaps you're thinking about exiting a lease or just want to understand some of the provisions in it. Or perhaps you're thinking about signing a new lease. In any of these situations, a commercial lease review consult can help you understand what your lease says and what your strategies and options might be. Debt management and restructuring. Our teams are also providing assistance, both legal and finance assistance, with debt management and restructuring. And in these consults, you might discuss how to renegotiate or restructure your business debt and how to manage the debt that your business has. Many businesses are considering taking out additional loans or additional sources of funding during this time, but might not have considered that you can actually renegotiate the loans and debt options that you already have. This is a great opportunity to do so, and our attorneys can review these agreements with you and help you think strategically about how to renegotiate agreements and find things that work for you, perhaps without taking on additional debt during this time. Labor and employment law. As many of you are employing workers and employees, you may have questions about labor and employment law, especially in light of COVID-19. Our attorneys are happy to provide consults on these subjects to talk to you about time off and sick leave requirements, workplace policies, and other issues around labor and employment law that you might have right now. Start Small, Think Big, in addition to our rapid response program, also has our core programs, which we provided prior to the COVID-19 pandemic and continue to provide. Our core program first includes legal services. So this is a transactional legal program that includes all of the legal services that you would have someone do as a startup or as a small business owner. And again, all of our services are free. Our services range from everything from setting up your legal entity for the first time, if you haven't done that yet, developing your initial contracts, all the way to considering investment opportunities and reviewing those agreements, labor and employment law, intellectual property issues like trademark and copyright, and everything across the spectrum. Our financial program can help you get your business financials on track and learn how to manage your risks. So they'll do everything from teaching you how to set up bookkeeping for the first time, if you haven't yet done so, to understanding financial statements, running financial projections for your business, which is particularly important during this time, especially if you're thinking about negotiating with a landlord or signing a new contract or deal during this time, all the way up to doing valuations and more advanced pricing analysis. And they're able to meet you wherever you are with your business. Our marketing and sales team can help you learn how to maximize growth and build a brand identity and strategy. So they can help you do things starting with just developing your brand identity and putting your business online for the first time, all the way to developing a comprehensive marketing strategy and sales strategy. We also help connect entrepreneurs and small business owners to sales opportunities based on their business industry and stage. Through the rapid response program that I mentioned, we are also providing free websites through our great partnership with GoDaddy. So if you haven't yet set up a website, a couple of hours in most cases, you have access to their excellent tools to build a website yourself and are able to get online really quickly if you need to reconnect with customers. You'll also have access to all of our excellent marketing boot camps, which are expert-led sessions on different subjects like SEO, connecting with customers on social media, and how to make sure that your online business is really popping and connecting with customers. We do have some eligibility criteria for our core programs that you can read about on our website. They include actually having an operating business. So unfortunately, we're not able to serve business owners who are in the idea stage and haven't actually begun selling. And to us, sales is defined as at least $500 in sales over the last 3 months. However, if your sales declined due to COVID-19 and you were selling before that time, before March of this year, then we'll look at those numbers as well, as we do recognize that circumstances have changed. And our cap is up to 1 million in annual business revenue, and that's what we defined as a small business owner. And for more information on our eligibility criteria, you can view it on our website, startsmallthinkbig.org. That's also where you can go to find our application for both our core programs and for the quick rapid response program. Start Small, Think Big loves to support our small business owners and entrepreneurs. And we hope that if you need any of this kind of assistance, whether it's marketing and sales help, financial assistance, or legal assistance to grow and take your business to the next level or to get through this difficult time, we encourage you to reach out to us. If you're a small business owner, you can reach out to us at response@startsmallthinkbig.org. If you are a community or government organization or agency, please reach out to us at community@startsmallthinkbig.org. We'd love to talk to you about how we can connect with you and assist your community or your constituents. If you would like to volunteer with Start Small, Think Big, please also reach out. We're always looking for companies or individuals who are excited about volunteering and providing these services to small business owners. Thank you so much for joining us today, and please put your questions in the Q&A.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth and Rebecca, for that wonderful presentation on the Rapid Response Program. Before we get into Q&A, we have one final poll question. Do you plan to hire new employees within the next 12 months? "55% of the respondents indicated that yes, they are planning to hire employees within the next 12 months, and 45% said no. So again, thank you for participating in the poll questions. Now we'll turn it over and we'll have Q&A. So I'd like to ask that our speakers return back to video, and we'll start the Q&A. All right, so for Arlene and Elizabeth, are all of your services free?
I guess I'll jump in first. All of our services are free. Sometimes people ask if there's a sliding scale. No, either if you qualify financially, then there's no charge for our services.
All right, Elizabeth, Rebecca, what about your services?
All of our services are also free. We don't charge any clients for our services. We don't charge community organizations for any of our services.
All right, and does Start Small, Think Big work with both for-profit and nonprofit businesses?
So we work only with for-profit businesses. We're able to provide some resources for anyone who's running a nonprofit, and we're happy to do so, but our services are designed for for-profit companies.
Okay, thank you. So, are services available in other languages? And I'll open this up for both of you, both organizations.
I'll let you guys go first.
So the majority of our services are primarily available in English. We do our best to provide volunteer support in other languages, primarily in Spanish at this time where we can, but we cannot always guarantee that we'll have a volunteer who can conduct an appointment with a client. But we also welcome all clients if they have a colleague or a family member that they're comfortable translating. They're more than welcome to bring that person into appointments with them to serve as a translator.
Okay, thank you. And Arlene?
For all of us who are local, we know there are many, many languages in Fairfax County. Someone said there are like over 120 noted through the public schools. So most of our attorneys are monolingual, so they speak English. When we have clients who speak other languages, we try to figure out how to make that communication work. Some of our lawyers do speak other languages. Otherwise, we have volunteer paralegals who can help, or our partnering sites many times have staff or other people who are willing to help out. We're also lucky that the matters that we work with our local legal aid, they have a whole volunteer interpreter program. And so we can use those professionals as well in some of our programs.
The Rapid Response Program, we also do have a Spanish language application available. And you can access that by going to the request form and clicking I prefer Spanish, which is written there. During the Rapid Response Program, we've been able to provide some consults on an as-needed basis in other languages, including Mandarin, Vietnamese, Arabic, and Spanish, of course.
Thank you. So Arlene, here's another question for you. What are the income restrictions and/or requirements to take advantage of your services?
It's different, obviously, for businesses or for individuals. For our individuals, our requirement is generally at 200% of the federal poverty guidelines. So it also depends upon the number of people who are in a household. For our business programs, the guidelines are higher because you need to have some money in order to support even a small business. So we have different guidelines for that. But for individuals, it's generally 200% of the federal poverty guidelines.
Okay, thank you. And Rebecca and Elizabeth, how long does it take to process to get assistance after the application has been submitted?
Most clients will receive their initial consultation within 7 to 10 business days and then follow up consultations as needed. We'll receive a consultation summary from your initial attorney, and you can select multiple options. So if you need assistance, for example, with both commercial leasing and debt management, then you can select both options and will likely receive multiple consultations depending on the attorney and financial professional expertise.
Okay, all right. And then here's another question for Start Small, Think Big. I need assistance in many areas. Is that possible, or can you only choose one project?
So as we just mentioned, absolutely, it's possible to get assistance in multiple areas. And in fact, that's one of the things that our organization exists to do, is to provide full wraparound services. If you need services in multiple areas, we would suggest applying for our core programs. So that application is also found on our website. It takes a bit longer, about 10 to 15 minutes to complete, but we'll give you access to our full suite of services for 12 months at a time. You can renew as long as you're eligible. You can also read about our eligibility criteria on our website, which again is startsmallthinkbig.org.
Okay, all right. And how can my community or neighborhood get connected to Start Small, Think Big?
So if you would email community@startsmallthinkbig.org, we would love to connect with you. We work with community organizations and government organizations, chambers of commerce, business improvement districts, merchant associations, commercial CDCs, economic development corporations, all of these organizations. We're happy to work with you and connect with you. We're happy to partner on programming, to discuss webinars, to have events like this one. So please reach out to us. We would love to connect with you and talk about your community and how we can work together to support small businesses.
Okay, and then this is for both of you, both organizations. I'm a daycare provider and I have a home daycare. How can you help me? What services are available to assist me?
I'll let you guys go first again.
So on our end, all of our services are available, and we are actively working to put on some more workshops coming up in November. If you check our website, that are specifically geared towards daycare providers and at-home daycare providers as well. But we're happy to help with any legal assistance, financial assistance, or marketing assistance that you may need for your business.
Thank you.
So I would say Start Small, Think Big is the people to go to on the business side if the question is directed toward business advice or marketing advice. And if it's COVID, as we've been talking about, you can get help through our rapid response questionnaire, which will plug you into the program.
Okay, all right. And I think you may have mentioned this in your presentation, Rebecca, but how can I volunteer with Start Small, Think Big?
Sure. So we actually have a section on our website. If you go to the website, startsmallthinkbig.org, where you can submit a quick application to become a volunteer. One of our programs will reach out to you and just discuss your interests and your skill set and start to connect you into the appropriate program. And we're happy, as always, to take interest from anybody, where there's a lot of support that our businesses need and a lot of different skills that can go to support them.
Okay, and I don't want to be repetitious, but it appears that we've got some folks that have joined the webinar a little late and may have not heard answers to some of the questions or information provided. So here's another question, and I believe this was addressed, but can you help with the PPP Forgiveness application, and what kind of assistance can I receive?
Sure, so we can absolutely help with the PPP Forgiveness application. Just submit a request through our form, which again is available on our website and on the websites of all the organizations present today. It's covid19.startsmallthinkbig.org/request. And there are several other versions of the request form on both the Fairfax County website and on the Northern Virginia Pro Bono Law Center. You can receive assistance with legal, financial, marketing, and sales.
Okay, all right, thank you. And then what financial services does Start Small, Think Big offer? And I think this was already addressed as well, but I'm going to ask it again for those that may have arrived late to the webinar.
Sure. So we offer a full suite of services all the way from, anyone who has not yet set up accounting for their business and they need help navigating whether it's using a platform like QuickBooks to do that, all the way through more sophisticated financial services to the point if you're looking to take on equity investment, we can do evaluations with you. So it's literally anything on the full spectrum. We're happy to make time for you. We have a number of volunteers who come to support our clients who work both in large financial services firms like the major banks, but also who are accountants and have their own practices to serve clients as well. So it's no problem on the financial side. Nothing is too big or too small for us to help you with.
All right, thank you. And then this will be our last question. EIDL, are you able to assist in putting together or with the EIDL applications?
Yes, so any of the CARES Act funding programs are something that we can provide some guidance and assistance with. So that might range from answering questions about whether or not your business is eligible for currently available programs, or actually filling out an application or a model application with you.
All right, thank you. So that will wrap up our Q&A. I'd like to let the audience know that a recording of this webinar will be made available to everyone in attendance today. I'd like to thank our panelists and bring back the FCEDA President and CEO, Victor Hoskins, to offer up closing remarks.
Thank you, Karen. Really appreciate that. So now you've heard from Adrienne Beckerman, and she really did a succinct job of laying out what the Fairfax Law Foundation does, how they work with family law, housing, employment, and the financial consumer law. I mean, think about it. Think about these services that all of us at some time in our lives need, and they're offering this to you as a pro bono service. That is absolutely phenomenal. And then Rebecca and Elizabeth followed up with Start Small, Think Big, and walk through all the suite of services that they offer, the legal, the financial, the marketing. These are things that all small businesses need at some time or another. And right now, during COVID-19, this is extraordinarily important. But let me tell you what I was most impressed with. I was most impressed with the outcomes. An 87% survival rate, a 57% growth in revenue, 470 jobs retained. Look, I don't know about you and how long you've been in business, but revenue growth and survival were at the beginning of my list when I was running my own business. So I think this is phenomenal that they offer this. And again, they offer this service for free. And look, right now, think about it. Debt management, your commercial leases, trying to get your PPP grant converted, loan converted to the option of grant, dealing with the EIDL. All of these things are difficult and complicated, and these attorneys are offering their time to you for free. I don't think that there's anything more valuable for a business right now than to have these services come to you for free. Now, look, to say this is not a challenging time right now would just be foolish, but it is also a time of opportunity. Unfortunately, as Thomas Jefferson said, opportunity often comes in the room in overalls and looks like work. It looks like hard work. Well, it is hard work. But the thing is, you have people that want to help you. You have these attorneys that want to help you. You have the staff from the Fairfax County Economic Development Authority that wants to help you. The Start Small, Think Big, the Fairfax County Law Foundation, putting their resources behind you. And then if you're in the Northern Virginia area, the Northern Virginia Economic Development Alliance, which is composed of 10 economic development organizations, is available for you at your disposal. And if you're in Fairfax County, you also have the Department of Economic Initiatives that actually created the RISE program, that with the help of the county supervisors created the RISE program, which has provided, over $58 million to businesses with 50 employees or less. And 72% of those have been minority women, veteran-owned businesses. What I'm trying to tell you is that the government is trying to help you. The nonprofit agencies are trying to help you. Please reach out to us. We're here to help you. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I look forward to seeing your business grow.